Getting it. So now, before we break for lunch, we're going to have a lunch break for an hour from 1 to 2, but we're going to hear from John Moore on Litecoin payments, a solution for the broken legacy system. John Moore is better known to the Litecoin and crypto community as Jonny Litecoin. That is correct. Provides a free service. Oh, also, all these cool handles. Everybody has their Litecoin crypto handle, Miss Teenage, whatever, Jonny Litecoin on Twitter. My name is Marty Simpson, and on Twitter I am Marty Simpson. I know it's hard to associate. You gotta do. My daughter was like, "Dad, you're so lame," and I'm like, I bought you Savannah Simpson when you were born. I was like way ahead, and she was like, "I'm Savvy Sunny 22 on all my social media, Dad. You need like a cool name." And I thought I was doing well because I got my name. Anyway, Jonny Litecoin provides a free service called Litecoin Tech Support that provides a wallet and payment support for anything Litecoin related. He has a background in traditional payment processing and views Litecoin as a superior form of money and a better form of payment than the current payment infrastructure available to the public. Please welcome Jonny Litecoin.
All right. Woo! What's up, you guys? Jonny Litecoin here. How's it going today? All right, so I'm starting with a question for everybody. Does anybody know what the main advantage of a Litecoin payment is, or a crypto payment for that fact? What would it be, Becca? No chargebacks. That's my first no card. No chargebacks, exactly. So that's what really drew me to Litecoin, is the fact that these chargebacks plague the legacy payment system. That's the world that I come from, is legacy payments. And, you know, I didn't look at Litecoin. Most people come to Litecoin or crypto from an investment standpoint. I came to it from a payments angle. So when I first tell everybody a quick story. I had heard about Bitcoin, heard about Litecoin. Didn't really resonate with me. It was 2017. And a friend of mine said, hey, he goes, I have to show you something, right? And he showed me a payment of $1,000 sent from New York to California. I think he bought a baseball card. And I was blown away. We looked at the back end of the data of the transaction. I was like, this is wild. Like, you can see all this data and this information. And he said, and I said, well, why would they want to accept Litecoin, in this case it was Litecoin, why would they want to accept Litecoin as a payment form? What's the advantage? And he said, well, the payment's final. He said they're selling baseball cards, they're expensive, and they're worried about getting fraud. So the chargebacks, they really plague this legacy system, because a lot of people think, they say, well, Visa, MasterCard is so fast. Visa, MasterCard is so fast. Visa, MasterCard is actually one of the slowest payment forms out there. It takes 6 months for final settlement on the Visa, MasterCard network, where Litecoin settles every 2.5 minutes. That's final settlement. So a lot of people think, oh, well, you have to wait for the block to clear, this and that. But again, we're looking at final settlement. So you got 6 months versus 2.5 minutes. So quick story, and I'll kind of start my presentation. So this system of chargebacks and cardholder protection presents real challenges in regards to funding payments and risks for the merchant processor. On the merchant's end, chargebacks are always a concern for financial loss. Like I said before, keep in mind that these chargebacks can occur for months after the original payment is processed. So this results in funding sometimes being delayed by the merchant processor while they ask the business for more documentation regarding the initial sales. They try to mitigate any type of fraud risk. Now, this funding delay can create really stressful situations for the business. The business made a sale, maybe a large sale, and they need that capital to come in so they can fill the order. And then meanwhile, us as the payment processor says, well, do you have an invoice? We have to call the card holder. We might delay the funding, yada, yada, yada. So there's a lot of issues and stress that this causes. And not only that of, kind of bothering them for information regarding that transaction, we can actually not give them their money for 6 months. We could say, you know what, it's too risky. We're going to hold this money for 6 months. In the merchant world, they actually can do something called a cash reserve. So who out there would know what a cash reserve is? Anybody have any clue what a cash reserve is? No. All right, so cash reserve means when you want to, as a payment processor like I am, you want to get somebody's merchant account, and they give you all the paperwork and documentation needed, and you say to them, well, we want to do business with you. We want to take you on your account, but we need $500,000 to hold as a deposit because of the risk of your business. So this kind of bothers the merchants because they say, well, what do you mean risk of my business? Why are you deeming my business risky? I already gave you all this personal information. So again, it just creates a, troublesome environment for taking payments. And that's where I came into play because I was like, wow, this Litecoin, this is incredible. So I always say the invention of Bitcoin, after all, is a way to move money across the internet without fear of chargeback or reversal. Bitcoin was invented, if you read the Satoshi white paper, as a way to move money from point A to point B across the internet without A knowing B or B knowing A. It actually goes farther than just internet payments. Even face-to-face payments come with problems. Cash can be fake. It's counterfeit bills. A check can bounce. So, there's really no way before Bitcoin to take payment in a safe manner. So now if you have a risky situation or you're taking a larger payment amount, you can request Bitcoin or Litecoin as a payment form and know that your funds are going to get to you in a timely manner. So what's the Litecoin advantage? So I always saw Bitcoin as this future global monetary standard. I liked the idea of Bitcoin. It was really cool, but I saw Litecoin as a global payment standard. And, it's, 84 million coins instead of 21 million total maximum supply. A currency supply that you cannot inflate. A payment network free of chargebacks. As somebody doing what I did on a regular basis, this was a real thing of beauty. Nothing bothered me more than having to tell my clients, you're not going to get this money. You lost this chargeback. I mean, I've seen chargebacks in the payments world ruin people's weeks, their months, their summer time. I've seen small businesses lose $20,000, $30,000 at the start of summer. And they're like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to take my family on vacation now because of this chargeback. Small businesses are really cash poor. They need that funding to come in every day. So, man, when I saw this, I was like, what a solution this is to this fraud in the payments world. This is incredible. So I loved it because I hated saying no. We get a lot of calls doing what I do. You put in a credit card machine or a POS system. People call me up. They say, Johnny, is it safe? When I hear the question, is it safe? I'm like, no, it's not safe, right? And they say, well, you don't let me talk yet. And then they say, is it safe to take payment? Somebody called me, or then I say no. Because I can't look somebody in the eye and tell them it's safe to take payment, a credit card payment, in any situation. Now, it does usually work. Visa, MasterCard are everywhere, right? The system works good enough in most circumstances. But when it doesn't work, it really doesn't work, and it really affects you. So this gave me an answer where in those situations where chargeback and fraud risk would be high, I had an answer now for my clients. And that story I was telling you guys about before, where my friend bought the baseball card and sent $1,000 across the country, that was on a particular day when another friend of mine that was a client of mine got burned on a chargeback. And he was a furniture store. He sold some furniture, and he got beat on a technicality. Now, sometimes even when you win these chargebacks, you lose after you win. They have arbitration, secondary level of the chargeback, and it becomes, as these chargebacks, as the level goes up, it becomes harder and harder for the merchant to win and retain funds. So my friend, when he showed me that Litecoin transaction, it caught me on a day when I was bummed. I said, man, I really had to let somebody down, and I don't have an answer for him. And the guy that I was talking to, the owner of that furniture store, he said to me, Jonny, this isn't good. You don't have an answer for me. You're the payments guy. You need to have an answer. You can't tell me there's no safe way to take payment. So now I saw Litecoin, and I was like, my God, I was like, this is amazing. So, Litecoin is a quick and reliable payment method that could help people out in this environment. There was no more need to fear chargebacks. Again, request Litecoin in these risky payment situations and instantly convert into US dollar or HODL if you so choose. So, now we have services like BitPay, which is amazing. BitPay will automatically convert your payments and fund you US dollar. I always say, we can't be worried about businesses hodling. A lot of us are, crypto maximalists, and we're like, never sell, keep the crypto. Small businesses, they need to keep the lights on. They have to pay their vendors. So it's all about cash flow. Hodling is a luxury, I guess. Most small businesses, it's money in, it's money out. They just want to know if they take payment that it's safe. And, a lot of people that don't know much about the payment system think that, fees. The fees are the advantage of taking crypto, because you can actually take a crypto payment for free. If you take it you can just show somebody a wallet address, you pay nothing. In fact, the cool thing is about the crypto system in general, they changed how payments work. In the legacy system, the business pays money to accept payments. Usually it averages around 3% industry average. But in the crypto world, you have to pay money to send the payment. You pay a transaction fee. So it kind of turned the payments world upside down, which I thought was really cool. So I love the fact, guys, that Litecoin is an option in the Venmo app. Venmo is owned by PayPal. But what a cool thing. Venmo is the most popular peer-to-peer payments app in the United States. And Venmo payments also come with a lot of risk. There's a lot of scams out there that involve Venmo. So actually, Clint Westwood's here. I'm going to tell a quick Clint Westwood story. Anybody who doesn't know who Clint Westwood is, he's kind of a legend in the Litecoin community. He does a lot of spaces online. He's a big promoter of Litecoin. He has meetups, really great guy. But Clint Westwood tells a cool story. And it's about selling a car on a Saturday. You sell a car privately on a Saturday. How do you take payment? Do you take a check? Do you trust a check to come in for a car that you sold on a Saturday? I wouldn't, knowing what I know. Okay, so cross that off your list. Do you take cash? No, most people say cash is king. I love cash. Well, there's lots of counterfeit notes out there. So what if you take counterfeit notes? That is always a concern. What if you say, you know what? I'm not going to take $100 bills because they could be fake. I'm not going to take a check. And the banks are closed. I can't get a cashier's check. They can't wire me the funds. And actually, transfers also can be reversed. I'll get into that after. So how do you take payment? You say, I got it. I'm going to take payment via Venmo. That works. Venmo's cool. It's easy. Well, Venmo payments, as I said, those also can be reversed. But again, Litecoin being an option in the Venmo app, you can show somebody your Litecoin address in Venmo and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take payment through this Litecoin network I've heard of, and then convert into US dollar if that's what you want. Again, because we don't always have the luxury to hodl. So that's a way to transact in Venmo in a fraud-proof manner. So I mentioned wire transfers before. I'll tell you guys another quick story about wire transfers. I was with a jeweler recently, and the jeweler sells precious metals, gold, silver. They sell watches. So they kind of know me and a buddy of mine as the Bitcoin and the crypto guys, Litecoin guys. And I was talking to the owner one day, and he said about the price going up, and he kept talking about the government and stuff with the government and this and that. And I explained to him, I said, you know, do you get that this is an invention? He didn't get it. And I said, well, have you ever had fraud? And I said, that's the reason that this whole thing came about. He goes, actually, it's funny you bring that up. He goes, I got beat for $93,000. He sold some Rolex watches, shipped them. Somebody wired him the money and then reversed that wire transfer. So wire transfer seems like a great idea until you lose $93,000. He learned the hard way, that guy. So, you know, but a lot of people say, well, Johnny, cash is king. Cash is king, Johnny. We love cash. You know, in the merchant business, you deal with a lot of restaurant owners, a lot of, you know, people of an older generation. They say, oh, Litecoin, I don't get it. I want cash. Cash is king. But cash works cool in a face-to-face environment. Again, you don't have the risk of counterfeit notes. But in a non-face-to-face environment, cash is irrelevant. So Litecoin provides that, actually Litecoin through MWeb provides that cash-like experience in this digital world that we're going into. We're not going into less of a digital world. There's cell phone usage, smartphone usage isn't decreasing, it's increasing. So I talked about MWeb. So the cool thing about MWeb is cryptocurrency by itself isn't perfect. I always tout it as it's amazing, it's this great payment form. You can't have chargebacks, but one of the flaws of cryptocurrency in general is the fact that you can track and trace every transaction. You can see every transaction that user has sent. So people always say, well, Johnny, you know, only criminals want privacy, don't they? I say, well, would you want to walk around printed on your shirt your bank account balance and transaction history at all times? People say, well, no, of course not. That's my bank account. And again, what's the difference with crypto? It's just that we've been poisoned by the powers to be. I don't need to name them, but I call them the banking industrial complex. That's who's running the show on these things. They want you to think that, well, crypto's good, but there's a lot of money laundering risk. No, I don't think so, because the majority of all funds are laundered through the traditional payment system. Just think about it as the money launderer, the legacy payment system, the credit card system, ACH system. This is a system of automatic reporting requirements. When you process credit card payments, you get a 1099 every year. As the money launderer, your job's done. You got a 1099, that money's stamped into the system as income that you took in. And you don't even need the money up front. You can launder credit. So cryptocurrency, you know, it's very transparent. There's no automatic reporting requirement. And you actually have to have the funds up front. So it's a lot of lies that it's used for money laundering. What they don't want you to know, and what they don't want you focused on, is that it makes it hard to do like a civil asset forfeiture. that they cannot take your funds whenever they want. When your money's in that legacy system, it's not your money, it's their money. When your money's in the bank account, it's the bank's money. You basically just have a claim on those funds. So, what was I going to say? So as I say, right now, mainstream crypto adoption has been hindered due to the extreme government overreach of Operation Choke Point 2.0. This is a very real thing. Operation Choke Point by itself was a real thing. I saw that come down the pipeline in, 2013, 2014, 2015. In the legacy world, they just said, well, there's certain industries that can't be banked anymore. So let's essentially make them unbankable. Payment processors can't process those payments. If they do, they're in a lot of trouble. So without passing law, the bad guys, said, well, these industries are basically illegal. Even though there's no law that was passed, Congress didn't get involved. The banking industrial complex got involved and said, these people are no good. If you're a payment processor, if you get involved with these people, you're going to prison. So Operation Choke Point 2.0 targeted the crypto industry and just said, well, crypto is a no-no. No more crypto. So when a lot of people say, well, Johnny, I would have thought you'd be paying with Litecoin or in person at more places. The integrations are easy. Right now, this infrastructure is laid down and set up. Most point-of-sale systems out there are a cloud-based system with an app marketplace built in. You can easily put a crypto app in there and accept payments over the counter, at the register, peer-to-peer. It's that the gatekeepers of this system will not allow it to occur. Even with that said, though, the usage on the Litecoin blockchain is exploding. Litecoin, while the price of Litecoin has been, hasn't went to the moon as we all want it to, but the usage of Litecoin has. When I got involved with Litecoin, the transactions on the network were 20,000 transactions per day on average. Now, the transactions on the network, I just checked a couple hours ago. In the last 24 hours, we did 260,000 transactions. Every day, approximately 200 to 300,000 transactions are processed, settled, and cleared with no chargeback in a timely manner on the Litecoin network. So the usage, the metrics of Litecoin are exploding. In those niche industries, as we saw BitPay showed before, there is an increasing amount of Litecoin. Litecoin's the #1 payment form being used on BitPay. So yeah, Litecoin is kicking ass in a lot of these metrics, so price will follow, guys. Again, I'm not a price guy, I'm a use guy. I'm all about Litecoin, how it solves these problems of the legacy payments world. So where do we go from here, guys? Where do we go from here? So you consider using Litecoin as a currency by itself. So what I mean by that is people always get hung up. They say, well, the system I have to be able to do Litecoin to the system I use, and if it can't be done to the system I use, I can't accept it. And truth be told, when you take cash as a business, the system or the computer doesn't count the cash for you. You have to physically go over and count the cash. So look at Litecoin in the same manner and take it in a peer-to-peer wallet, treat it like cash. And that's how we win, by not involving the banking industrial complex. Get them out of our life. I'll bring up Clint Westwood again. As Clint Westwood says, get out of the vampire casino. Why are we pandering to them? So opt out of the system. So people complain about KYC. I'm actually a strict enforcer of KYC. Now, I think it's criminal. I think it's a violation of our constitutional rights as an American citizen, but I enforce the hell out of it because I'm not going to jail so somebody could get around KYC. Hell no. We need to build systems and solutions that make KYC irrelevant. Let's make KYC like rules for a typewriter. In other words, we don't use typewriters anymore, so the rules for a typewriter don't exist. It's irrelevant. That's how we win. And let your voices keep being heard. Keep tweeting about this. Keep talking about it. You know, right now, Bitcoin is a hot topic in the 2024 presidential race. That's because of us. We want Bitcoin. We want crypto. That's why it's a hot topic. So keep it up, you guys. You guys coming here, amazing. You guys supporters of Litecoin, amazing stuff. Just keep your voices being heard. We're a strong community. We're an influential community. A lot of people listen to what we say. They think we have knowledge. So just keep it up, you guys. So any questions out there for me about the legacy payments world or how things work or anything? Or it's hard to see up here with the light. Anybody? No questions? What's up?
I'll posit the same question to you as I did one of the other presenters whose name I had to go back to my notes to remember.
All right.
Use the example of going out to dinner.
Okay.
I don't want my server, I don't want to pay the tip to the restaurant.
Okay, yep, makes sense.
So I would like to ask if they want Bitcoin or Litecoin.
Yep.
What's the easiest way to do that? Yeah, just
Have them
download
download an easy-to-use wallet, or actually an even easier way to do it is you could give them a paper wallet. Paper wallets are really cool because they actually teach the people a little bit about how to use crypto. And in Lite Wallet, you can easily sweep the paper wallet because it'll show a private key. You could sweep it right into the app. So you can kind of have a paper wallet loaded up. I wouldn't give the whole tip in Litecoin because the person might not know about Litecoin. But maybe give part of the tip in Litecoin. Say the bill's $200. Say, hey, you know, I'm giving you $30, which would be 15% in cash because I want to keep it off the credit card, help you out, help the business out. But you know what? I want to give you an extra 10 or 2. You were a good server. I want to give you an extra $20. I'm going to give it to you in Litecoin. Do you know what that is? So I would do that because, again, we can't force this upon people. We have to get the people to want to use it. Again, it has to be the right timing. Even me as a payments processor, I had been hearing about Bitcoin since 2013. It took until 2017 for it to resonate with me because I saw all these problems occurring in the payment system. I had so many customers with money being held, problems, Operation Choke Point, telling people you're going to lose out. So I was so fed up, I needed an answer. And I saw Bitcoin and Litecoin as a way to solve this problem. And besides the problem of fraud, there was another big problem in the payments world called synthetic identity theft. And this was a huge problem. This is not talked about at all because they don't want the public to panic. But this plagues the payment system. Basically what this is people steal someone's identity. They kind of make a fake website and a fake business profile. And they apply for merchant processing accounts. And they get them because the people's identity they steal had good credit. And to get approved for a merchant account, you really only just need to have a good credit score and you're approved because you're personally guaranteeing that merchant account. So I saw synthetic identity theft on a daily basis. Got to the point where we stopped marketing online because every lead that we got, 90% of leads that we got were people committing fraud, committing synthetic identity theft. So I went home scratching my head before I knew about Bitcoin. I said, how does this system last? Because the people behind the scenes didn't seem to care. They didn't care. They weren't talking about it. I said, where's this money? Just go into a black hole? I started thinking of how does the monetary system work? And I learned about Bitcoin, the limited supply. You know, some people told me about gold. I was like, gold, how it's limited? And I was like, man, this is really cool stuff. So, you know, this is really needed. It's just that they're going to put out information to us that it's not needed. They want to have the control. They want to control everything that we do. We're going into more of an authoritarian world, KYC on everything. Why can you go into a casino and gamble, but you can't buy $10 worth of Bitcoin without showing your credentials? So they want you to gamble your money away, but not buy an asset, a scarce asset. It doesn't make sense. So again, we're only going into a world of more tracking. And that's the, again, like I said before about MWeb, that's the other cool thing about Litecoin, because cryptocurrency is not perfect on its face. But with MWeb, it gives you that optional layer of fungibility and privacy. And I like that Litecoin's not a complete privacy coin. I like that there's, in certain instances, I want to see the transactions that came through. I want the transparency. My hope is that governments of the world have to settle into the Litecoin or Bitcoin blockchain in the future. They tell us, oh, this money got spent here and there. How do we really know? How do we really know what they're spending this money on? How do we really know that the national debt's $34 trillion? There's people a few years back that audited this and said at the time the debt was $21 trillion. They found a missing $21 trillion. So how do we know what they tell us is the truth? I'm going to go with that. I don't think they're telling us the truth. So, again, this stuff is so needed. Just keep spreading the message. You guys, by being here, are embracing the community and helping to spread this message. So any other questions for me out there about this legacy payment system or this vampire casino? No? Well, you guys were great. Thanks a lot for having me. You guys are awesome.